Smart over-the-counter hearing aids that work great with your phone. Let's check these out. Dave Taylor here, and I want to say we live in an increasingly noisy world. It can be really hard to find peace and quiet. The consequence of that is that many of us are starting to lose our hearing, and people are losing their hearing younger. So, used to be if you needed a hearing aid, you'd either ignore it and just not be able to hear anything, or you'd have to go to an audiologist and pay thousands and thousands of dollars for a fairly clunky piece of electronics. Now we have all of the advancements and evolution of Bluetooth earbuds evolving and intersecting with those hearing aids. And it's now over-the-counter hearing aids. And that's exactly what this is. This is the Yeasound RIC800 OTC hearing aid. And these are pretty cool. So I'll take one out so you can see it's really a tiny little device. And the piece that goes in your ear is really quite modest. And then the rest of this sits behind your ear. So I will put this on. Let's see, this is on my right ear, so it's this one. And basically you just put the little earbud part in your ear canal, and now it's already working. And even as I'm talking, I can hear more high frequency than I could without this being connected. And it's that easy. Let me take these off again. So, in terms of usability, super straightforward. It does have an app on the iPhone. It also hooks up with the accessibility stuff. I'll show you all of that in just a minute, but I just want to talk about the specs a little bit. So first off, you can see it has a charging case, just like AirPods are similar. So you put it in, you close it, and it's charging. And then when the case needs charging, it's USB-C, and they do include a USB-A, the rectangle, to USB-C, and you charge it up. The lights on the front will show you charge status. And once it's fully charged, the earbuds themselves will give you 31 hours of use without having to go back into the case. That's use as a hearing aid. If you want to use these to stream, for example, music off of your phone, or if you have really good eyesight and you're watching a movie on your phone to listen to the audio for that, that gives you closer to 18 to 20 hours. But again, in either case, it will tell you when the battery is running low. You put it back in the case. The case gives you 3 more charges, and the case supports wireless charging too. So you could easily put it on like a Qi charging pad or something and make sure the case is always fully charged, and then just put the earbuds in and boom, they're ready to go. Sorry, the hearing aids in. They really do look similar. Now, frequency response wise, this is where you know there's a little difference. So these are 100 to 8,000 hertz frequency response with 5.3 milliseconds of latency. Latency is really important because you don't want to have someone talk and then 2 seconds later you actually hear what they said. So 5 milliseconds means that it's exactly in sync and you won't even notice that that is an issue. But it's okay because it needs to do some processing to extract that from the background environment. They work with Bluetooth 5.2. It supports iOS, so iPhones, or Android. They have an app for both. And the noise reduction that I was just talking about, it's AI powered and it offers a bunch of different modes. When we get to the app, we'll look at that and see what the modes are. It also, because the app can play music in the background or environmental sounds and stuff, it also helps you mask tinnitus. If you have tinnitus, that sort of ringing or hum or whatever in your ear that never goes away, you can actually mask that with the nature sounds in the Yeasound app, available again, iPhone and Android. So it's also worth pointing out that they ship with this one typical wire length, but in fact, includes a device you can use if they feel like they're the wrong size, like the ear is, or the tip is too low for your ear or too high, then they include this little measurement device. I can pick it up. There we go. And the idea is you put it over your ear and then you ask someone else to measure and look at exactly where is the top of the sort of innermost circle that makes up your ear. And that gives you a number, and that number is potentially a different length wire. you email them, they mail you out a different cord wire, and then you can unplug this and use the longer or shorter wire. But I think for the vast majority of people, this length 3 wire is going to work just fine. I'll say it worked great for me, and I have fairly big ears, so I think that kind of lucked out there. In addition, it also comes with a lot of ear tips. So right now on these, I have the medium size, but it's a little tricky because they have closed and open and power and tulip domes. So it's 4 different styles of ear tips, and they're in different sizes. So for example, with the closed and open domes, it comes in small, medium, and large. The power domes are large only, and then the tulip domes. So it's a little hard to see what the differences are, but I will just say that there are 4 tips in here, there are 2, 4, 6 in here, and there are 4 in here, plus the 2 that are already on. So my point being that take the time and experiment and try different ones to actually find the ones that work best for your ears and your hearing. And that leads to a really important point, is that when you're trying hearing aids, even if you wear hearing aids and you're switching, you've got to give your brain time to get used to the new ones. So what they recommend in their user guide is that for like the first day, give yourself 30 to 60 minutes in a quiet environment to wear these. And then over a couple of weeks, extend that time out. And like if you want to try them in a restaurant, it might be a week or 2 down the road before your brain is used to this change in what you're hearing and will be able to process that without you being overwhelmed by how bright and loud all the sound is. I will say that it is really kind of crazy. I had these on, and then I just went to wash my hands, and the sound of the water hitting the sink was so much brighter and so much louder than I'm used to that it was just like, wow, it was a little bit disconcerting. Over time, my brain would get used to that, and I would be able to just say, hey, I can actually hear things really well. What an absolute benefit. So important. Now, let's see, what else does it come with? It comes with various cleaning things, so you can make sure that you keep them in good shape. And like I said, there's the user guide, there's a quick start guide, and then there's actually tiny little QR codes to make sure you get the correct app. And that's pretty important. But interestingly, as I said, it works with settings accessibility. Each of these is less than 1 ounce. I promise, when you put this in, you will forget you have it in. It is so light, it is so easy to wear. There are a couple of buttons on the unit itself. You can see them in this close-up. They do give you access to various functions. More likely than not, you'll be using the app instead. And with that in mind, let me just tell you one more thing. IPX8 waterproof. So if you want to wear these and you're out for a walk and it starts raining, you do not have to panic. If you're a kind of person who's sweaty because it's a hot, humid day, again, no problem. They can handle getting wet, and it's not going to be a problem. In fact, if you accidentally wear them in a bath and you realize, oh my God, it's like fallen in the bathtub, you can take it out, tap, dry it off with a towel, let it dry for a couple hours, it'll be fine. IPX8 means that it's fully waterproof. So what I want to do is I want to put them on, and then let's go into the various apps. So we're going to start with settings. And of course, let's see, I'm going to put both of them on, I think. But the settings are different on iPhones versus Android, of course, but that's similar idea. And then the app itself will look the same. In accessibility, there's a section called hearing. And then if you go to hearing devices, there it is, the Yeasound RIC800. I'm assuming it's a RIC800, but it might be RIC. And if I tap on it, you can see there's a lot of things you can adjust. And this is part of the iPhone operating system, which is really great. So you could ostensibly just skip the Yeasound app itself and just use this, but you don't want to. There's more controls. But this gives you the basics. So you can say, it's just too much treble. So I've adjusted it and I've lowered the treble down. I can say, I don't actually need the right one. So the right one's turned off, and now I'm just hearing through the left one, but we don't want to do that. And that would be for streaming. So it doesn't mean the right one's turned off. It means the right one won't be getting music or audio from the phone. And then you can set up the presets. And what I really like is this live listen feature near the bottom. If I tap this, then what's happening is that my phone microphone is being used as audio input for my ears, for my hearing aids. And you might wonder, when would that be useful? I'm going to turn it off. It's a little disconcerting. Where it would be useful is, for example, you're at a lecture, you could leave your phone on the podium and have excellent hearing of the person speaking. If you're watching television with your family and you're always complaining, can you turn the volume up? And everyone else is like, Grandma, can we leave the volume at a normal level, please? You could literally just go into live listen and just leave your phone right in front of the television, and you'll be able to finally hear everything the same way everyone else does, because this is transmitting that audio to your OTC hearing aids. What a cool idea. So that's all the iOS settings. Now let's go into the app itself. And so in the app, you can see that it took a second to synchronize, but it's now showing me that the left and right earpieces are both at 100% charge. And here are those different scenes. So this is where that AI noise reduction comes in. So if I was outdoors, I can actually change it, and it will change what it's emphasizing around me, versus if I'm in a noisy environment. Now it's actually amplifying less as it tries to figure out, is there someone near me talking? Because really, where you really want these is you want them for when people are talking to you. You want to be able to hear what they say. And as I tap these different settings, it's actually giving me voice feedback. So it's general, adaptive. So it's really nice. So I don't have to just stare at the app. And then you can see I have volume control. So if I have better hearing in my right ear, I might drop that one down a little bit. And I can take them out of sync, and then I can move the left one back up. So now I have, because my hearing is the same in both ears, I have this sort of weird situation where this one's louder than this one is. But if my hearing was uneven, this is an easy way to change that. If I go to sync, then they're at the same level. And so those are the key features. And I can also go into here, and this is under the Me section, and I can sign into their website and gain access to specific features. But I don't even need to do that. Let's go into support. I'm going to interrupt this because I really want to emphasize one more setting in the app, which is hearing type. This is an easy way for you to identify the kind of hearing loss that you are experiencing and get optimal settings. There are 3 choices here: high frequency sound enhancement, all frequency sound enhancement, and medium and high frequency sound enhancement. You can read the descriptions, but if you just go here in settings and pick the right one, you'll be well on your way to having them configured exactly as you need. It is an interesting experience as someone who doesn't regularly wear hearing aids. For me to put these in is something where it's like, I should get a hearing test, because I actually hear a lot more with these in my ears than I do without them. If you need hearing aids, then number one, you've got to be very thankful we live in an era where we have over-the-counter hearing aids, so you don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. But you have a lot of options because they work with your smartphone. It gives you so much more flexibility. And the idea that you're using things like AI noise reduction to have it pull out the voice of the person talking to you and minimize the sound around them, that's a huge big deal. That's useful really all the time. And I definitely admit that I have good hearing, but if I'm in a really noisy environment like a bar and I'm talking to a group of people and we're all sitting around a table, there are times when I'm just smiling and nodding because I have no idea what they're saying. So something like this can be a game changer, even if just in those environments. And because it's so subtle, as you can see in this close-up, no one's going to know I'm wearing them. Even if they're looking at my ear, even if I happen to have really short hair, they're still not going to be like, what is that? Are you wearing earbuds? Are you listening to music while we're talking? It's really invisible. So a lot of that is really important. Comes with everything you need to get started. Again, I'm going to remind you, take your time and let your brain figure out how these work. They talk about it in the user guide, but don't just take them and put them on and say, all right, I'm good for 6 hours. Let's go. Because you will have a headache. Your brain needs time to recalibrate for new and improved hearing. So that's a lot of what I wanted to share. They offer a 45-day free trial, so you could also get these, try different size ear tips or different style ear tips. You can make various adjustments in the app and stuff. And then, if they're just not working for you, you can reach out to the company and A, they'll probably help you fine tune what your experience is, but B, it's really a no-risk experiment for you to try these for 45 days. So that's great. Comes with a very swanky package. It's very nicely designed. All of this is everything you need to be able to get started and have success with these. So the only thing we need to talk about is the price. Before we get there, I'm going to invite you to subscribe to my channel. Click or tap on that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon for notifications. Give me a thumbs up if you found this of value. I am very honest and very candid with my reviews. I review a wide array of consumer electronics, and I'm always going to give you the straight scoop, so I hope you will subscribe. Excellent. These are the Yeasound RIC800 over-the-counter hearing aids, and they are $799 at yeasound.com. Currently only available in the US market, but who knows, that might change over time. That's everything I got. I think these are really, it's just great to see these sort of medical devices make it into consumer hands without having to have expensive consultations, and for you to be able to try it out and see if it works for you. What a great win-win. That's what I got, and I will hope to catch you in my next video.